everybody, welcome to Dinner with Key. Tonight we have my sister, my friend, this very special woman, Lanise, here with us tonight.
Peace, everybody, peace.
On the menu we have vegan risotto with asparagus and mushroom, and we have this very festive salad that Lanise helped me put together. We love cooking together already. But anyways, when I'm here to talk about food, and I know some of you guys think that Dinner with Key is about the actual food, but I will remind you every week that we are getting nutrition in a different way. Food for the brain. So, Lanise.
That was a gem.
Founder of Seed of Oshun. What is Seed of Oshun?
So Seed of Oshun is a mobile and stationary apothecary. So a lot of people say, what is an apothecary? So an apothecary, it can be a variety of medicine, but what kind of medicine? And so the medicine that I offer it's based in indigenous and African medicine. So that means like folk medicine, that means ancestor reverence. And because of that, I think it's my job, and I think it's a responsibility to make sure I travel with that, because African people, indigenous people are everywhere. We're global. And so I think it's important to really address everyone, not just the people that are in my neighborhood, but addressing everyone that's a part of my lineage, everybody that shares the same history as me. So I think it's important for us to engage each other and also to have a shared medicine practice.
Yeah. At your last event, to me, I felt like you had so much access to peace. Like anybody could have come to this event, to this community event, and find some resource and access to peace in different ways. Whether that was improvisational dance, whether that was...
I'm like going back, like that happened.
Whether that was getting a massage outside in the garden, whether that was speaking to some of the vendors about their mission behind their work and their vision behind their work, and how their merchandise somehow connects to the mind, the spirit, and the body, so that maybe someone can leave with something that supports where they are in their life right now in this moment. Just like, tell me what goes into planning a community event.
It's definitely a challenge, because when you're planning like a birthday party, it's like, it's my birthday.
Right.
It's my birthday, and I like Power Rangers, so I'm having all Power Ranger stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when it's something for the community, it's not about you, right?
Right.
It's not a birthday party for just you. If anything, you're thinking, how can I have a birthday party for everyone?
Right.
Everybody feel like it's their birthday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. Like, that's how I felt at the community.
It's all for you.
I was like, you know what? I feel like she made this event for me. Right. And it was like, if one station... like if I didn't want to get my cards read, or if I didn't want to like meditate with somebody, there was so many other opportunities to access peace in that moment. Like, and that's huge.
It was beautiful. Like it was definitely a challenge, but one grounding piece is, especially when I do community events, I think it's important to establish intention, to say like, this is my intention. I want people to feel this way, or I want us to cover this topic. So if I'm saying this event is about protecting yourself,
right? So
we're going to talk about physical protection, spiritual protection, mental protection. We're going to address the full spectrum of the human condition. And so like with Seed of Oshun, that's important that we not just heal. Like you can't, if you have a cut, you can't just heal it with topical stuff, treatment.
Right.
You have to address the infection. So you might have to take something internally and also have a topical approach. So I think it's important when we're talking about the healing process that we acknowledge that we have so many aspects of our body that have to be aligned. So when I'm planning events, I'm thinking about how can people feel mentally safe, physically safe, and spiritually okay, you know? And so when I'm planning these events, or even just my sessions that I have with people one-on-one, I always want the full spectrum to be addressed, because I feel like people can't feel if their full self isn't being acknowledged.
Right.
So it's like, okay, half of me is here. No, how can we address everything? So that's really important to me.
You always talk about the mind, body, and the spirit. And it's interesting because you are your own like physicality. You are a dance artist. You are a visual artist. You are a healing artist. You say you are a circle keeper. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel at some of your events, you know? Even at the MFA, at the Juneteenth event.
You were there too, yes.
I was there for that.
Yes. So many.
And it was just like you were smack dab in the middle of a singer performing. You were smack dab but you were smack dab in the middle of this fine arts museum, right? We talk about like pushing up against tradition, you know, and pushing up against politics. Here you are, you know, a person of color. You have your healing station set up. And there was people there who were not people of color, white people there who saw you outside in the middle of the MFA. The MFA hired Seed of Oshun to come and be a vendor for their Juneteenth event. If you don't know what the MFA is, the Museum of Fine Arts. So talk about tradition, talk about politics. You know, and on this day, you have a line of diverse bodies coming to buy your product. It wasn't like a short line. It was a long line. Right. I was worried that you didn't have enough product to sell.
Dang, we don't have to go.
But what is the feeling when like, okay, so I know that some of your work wills recognition and is for people of color. It is to offer people of color like resources and access to healing and peace. What is the conversation like when there's another body, when there's a white body, and they're very curious? They're like, what is this stone? Or what is this? You know, what is that conversation like?
At first, I was like,
gotta take a deep breath.
That's usually how it starts. It's like,
right.
Okay. That's how I start.
Do you feel like it's for everybody?
Okay, so
the work that you do you feel like it's for everybody?
So in hindsight, white folks have bought products of mine. That's definitely happened because I've been in spaces where I might vend at a farmer's market, or I might vend at a more public event. And in those times, there are white folks that come up to my station and they want to buy something. Now, on my sign that I usually have, it says that it's a mobile and stationary apothecary of Afro-Indigenous medicine. So in that, I make it clear in my signage that this medicine is Afro-Indigenous medicine. And so whoever chooses to come in that space, know that this space is for Afro-Indigenous people. Now when it comes to, so there's different parts of my work. I think all of it can be healing for everyone. Right. Because healing is important to everybody. But I think a lot of times we don't address how generational trauma can really affect all of us in our present moment. And so Seed of Oshun, when I talk about addressing the full spectrum, that doesn't mean your full spectrum of today. That means it's full spectrum of you and your ancestors, right? So that acknowledges that ancestor reverence needs to be present and that we need to do ancestral healing as well. So for me, like, I'm also a Reiki master. So Reiki is a form of laying on of hands and energy work. So a lot of time when I do Reiki sessions with people, we do far distant Reiki. So I'll do Reiki on you, like your arm hurts, I'm going to put Reiki on your arm and do energy work right here on your arm. But yeah, you can say, hey, I've been dealing with a traumatic situation. I'm going to do Reiki where you may feel the pain in your chest, on your arm, on your whole auric field, your whole energy. But then I'm also going to do energy where I'm going to do visualizations and travel to your past and your ancestors and deal with that healing too, right? So my work isn't just for the person in the moment, but it goes beyond that person and works with their ancestor as well. Whether that be I'm helping you to create an ancestor altar, whether that means I'm doing visualization and guided meditation to find that place in your past that you didn't even know was there, right?
Right.
Because we all have the power to unlock our subconscious or our unconscious mind. It's just a process, like same with like hypnosis. It's really unlocking that unconscious or subconscious mind that we don't acknowledge as much, or we don't really realize we're tapped into it.
Right. That's so interesting because like lately I have really been paying attention to like my subconscious fears. It's like things that I don't necessarily think that I'm afraid of. Like I can't name all of my subconscious fears right now. But when I'm just walking through life and I get that feeling in my gut, or I feel just like, you know, sick to my stomach, then I have to stop and be like, why do I feel this way? You know what I mean? And it could be at like 7 o'clock at night and the sun is just like going down. And I see a man coming behind me and I get that feeling. That's like a subconscious fear. Because I don't think on a daily basis like, oh, I'm afraid of men. But in the moment, those subconscious fears come. And then you have to think about the history
and where that
came from. So I'm wondering, let's say like if a white woman or a white man or a white person wanted to have Reiki done on them.
Good.
Would this take them into a space of having to deal with their ancestors?
Okay.
You know?
Definitely. So definitely I think that, so I was working, so I do like herbal clinicals, like clinic for like massage therapists when they have clinic and it's like really working on people. Herbalists can have like clinic. So I have clinic where we have clients and we really work with them and we have different options of herbs and treatments, and we do like facial diagnosis, pulse readings, different forms of like addressing like which organs need support, or like does your nervous system or your lymphatic system need support. So it's really just addressing the overall well-being of someone. And someone, you know, I'm not gonna say the person's name, but someone that I was working with, when they were a child, they had got pneumonia. And something really traumatic happened to them in their family when they were like 6 months old. In the fall, at the same time. Now, every single year they have an outbreak, like scattered. Like when they have stress triggers, it's the same time. And they're now 56 years old. And so when I was writing down, I was like, so like, what's your birth story? I was like, where, you know, asking certain questions. When do you feel the most stressed? When did you have that outbreak? And so that I'm asking follow-up questions and they're wondering, why does she keep returning back there? And so I have support from other herbalists and we're like, so when it comes to pain can also be generational and triggered from memory. So even in myself, I had moments where I had a big breakthrough or something that happened to me, and it'll happen to me, it'll be triggered again the same time, the same moment. Like it could be years later. And so like she was saying there's times when it doesn't happen. It won't happen for 10 years, but then something big will happen and it'll be triggered around the same time. Right? And so when we think about if in one person, they can be triggered throughout their lifetime at the same time because of memorization, right? We don't realize how memory is connected to the neural path of our life, right? We think about neurology and we think about how we process pain.
Yeah.
Like if our mind didn't tell us we were in pain, we wouldn't be in pain.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like her mind goes back to that memory of pain, and then it tells her she's in pain, and then she flares up.
Right.
And so when we think about memory, we think about traumas and triggers. Sometimes there are memories within us that we are not aware of because it's beyond our generation. And so that gets into like ancestral trauma, where it's, you know, my grandfather doesn't say I love you, so my mother struggles with saying I love you. But my grandfather's parents were in slavery, so they weren't talking about, they went through Jim Crow, they went through that heavy phase of enslavement, and so they didn't show emotion. So now I have my grandfather, and a lot of Black folks whose ancestors are from the South can say, or anyone can really just say, any brown person in this generation can say, like, does your grandfather say I love you? Like, you know, like it's like wait, did he ever say, wait?
Yeah.
You know, we think about like how we inherit a lot of ways of our parents and their parents, and like if you keep channeling that, it goes back to our ancestors. So we don't think about how our current moment of being is impacted by people that lived before us. Yeah. And so when it comes to white folks, working with white people is a lot of work. Because when you think about, if you have a cough, you drink cough syrup. You don't have like sinus medicine for your nose. You know, of course, like it can all be connected, but it's better to get the medicine for that issue. Right. And so for Seed of Oshun, it's a call to action to say, brown people, we deserve something for us. We deserve a method of healing that's for us. Right. Because a lot of time we have to compromise, right? Where we have to settle with a shade of makeup that's not for us, or we try to mix and match. Yeah. You know, like we settle with things that's not really for us. Like when I was a kid, I had to mix colored crayons to make the color of people I really wanted. You know, they didn't really have, the flesh tone wasn't my flesh tone. Right. So I mixed it with like red and orange and black. Right. You know, so it's like, it's okay. And it was hard for me to acknowledge that it's okay for me to have a healing practice that's really for brown people, because white people have had years and generations of dealing with their trauma to have a healing process for them, where it's like, I don't remember them saying during the Reconstruction era, like, let's distribute some psychologists so you can deal with this trauma. Yeah. Like after slavery, Reconstruction, civil rights, Black people weren't given like healthcare to deal with their psychological issues. Right. And so when it comes to working with white people, me saying that my work is for people of color doesn't say that white folks don't need the work. It's just that that's not my calling. Yeah. And that I'm okay with saying that my medicine is for us, by us. Because I think that no one is disposable. White folks that have come to me asking for healing work, I will say, you know, I don't do body work on white folks, but I do know white healing practitioners or folks that do medicine work that I can resource, that I can send you to. Yeah. Like I've done that before. Yeah. Whereas like I can't work with you because a lot of people forget that as healers we take on a lot of energy as well. And so for me, it's not my job to take on the energy of white folks that are dealing with, because sometimes I've had moments, and especially my work isn't just medicinal in terms of like traditional ways. Yeah. Like I do a lot of root work, a lot of ancestor reverence, so a lot of spiritual work. So sometimes my ancestors are saying no. Yeah. So think about it like as if you have like a secret, like I don't know, like kind of like the Wizard of Oz, like there's like someone behind the curtain, like helping you move. Yeah. And if the person behind you's like, I ain't working today, you better figure this out on your own. And I'm like, so I have moments where my ancestors are like, good luck with that one. Right. And sometimes it's been with brown folks. And I feel it, and I still do it, and then I end up sick for 3 weeks. Wow. That's happened to me. So it's like, it's really important that I acknowledge my place in my work, you know? And I acknowledge that even sometimes with some brown folks that haven't done the work, like especially I've had moments with Black men that have like violated my healing space, and my ancestors told me to walk away, and I was like, but I don't, you know. And so it's important for healers to set boundaries. So now I know when I feel uncomfortable, or I feel unsafe in any way, or I feel like this is not my job to work with this person, I say, hey, I know folks that I can connect you with.
Right.
And so for me, it's also my job to not also be a healer, but to network and be connected to a village of healers. So if I can't do it, that I can send somebody else to do the work, you know?
That's beautiful. I definitely feel like, especially at summer solstice, like that was a space for brown bodies, and
Black folks were there.
and black, and white folks were there. But when spaces are created for brown bodies, like I feel like I'm being seen. You know what I mean? I've definitely had taken some mind, body, spirit classes in dance. You know, at Boston Conservatory, we had the Alexander technique, we had mind, body centering, we had different classes to try and connect us, our mind, body, and our spirit. But that was kind of like, but it was weird because I could never really fully connect. I can't neglect my past and my history. And I also can't pretend like my struggle and my pain is not different from the majoritarian group of people that are in this space. But you have the privilege to like not have to see that and not have to acknowledge that. But like my life actually depends on me acknowledging that I'm a brown body in this world.
Absolutely.
In America.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so I appreciate you for making spaces that are to give access to people of color, to provide resources to people of color. We're not always being seen. We're just left to deal with it, you know, to deal with not being taken accounted for.
Yeah. And not being offered a way to deal.
And not being offered a way to... Right. Right.
Like I think it's important for us to realize that we can have our own prescription. Because
like we don't have to
adjust.
Right.
We don't have to like say, okay, I gotta add a little bit of cayenne to this and a little salt to make it work. Like no, we can have a medicine that is for our taste buds. You know, we can be nourished in that way, and that is so much work. Like even the fact that my work is specialized for Black and brown people, for people of color, I still have a lot of work to do where I travel. Like I'm leaving for Jamaica in a day.
In one day?
I leave in a day.
This girl is always traveling.
And I'm going because
always leaving.
Like I'm going to harvest herbs and bring them back.
Right.
You know, I do a lot of work where I work with herbs in the Caribbean, dry them.
I forgot to say that
roots sometimes.
Lanise is a gardener as well, and she has a community garden here in Boston. So that's exciting.
That's exciting, yeah. Farming and gardening is a big aspect of Seed of Oshun as well. Because when it comes to herbal remedies, that includes not only giving people herbal remedies and giving them sessions to deal with like a clinical herbal session,
right?
But it's also saying, hey, like let's learn how to wildcraft. Wildcraft is when you can take wild herbs from the world, from wherever we live, and make medicine from those. Wow. So it's like, hey, like this is on the side of the road. It's been outside my house. It grows here every year. Did you know that was like mugwort and it helps with insomnia? You know, like, wow, doing that with people, like walking people through the hood and saying like all these herbs that we've seen in our neighborhood, like what are those things with the red ball on it? That's red clover. It helps with the lymphatic system. And like these are herbs that grow all over, like in the neighborhood, like grass. We see them as weeds, but they're actually medicinal herbs, right? And so like, yeah, you can, like a lot of herbs are like crossbreeded, but a lot of the main medicinal herbs started off as weeds, or weeds that people call them, you know? So it's important for me to take that time to explain to people you can be your own herbalist as well. Yeah. Because a lot of times people offer people like healing in a vacuum. Like, I need my doctor to write this prescription for me to get the medicine. So at the end of the day, you're dependent not only on the medicine, but on your doctor to prescribe the medicine. Right. So for me, Seed of Oshun, it offers self-agency as well, because I believe that we all have the power to self-heal. So when usually with a lot of my potions, I tell people what's in it. And if they want, they could probably copyright me or make it themselves. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they know what I'm doing. Right. And a lot of people...
And they know what's in it.
A lot of people be like, in added fragrance. Wait, did this bottle just say added fragrance? Yeah. I'm like, you didn't even say what it is. Yeah. I could be allergic, or my spirit could hate minty flavor, like scents. But you sneakily put like spearmint in it, but I didn't know.
Summer is not over.
Right.
And I know that you're going to be traveling.
Yes, indeed I am. Cracking you already.
But what's next?
So what's next? What's next is, of course, like I'm always like coming up with new products. Yeah. People give me feedback. They say, not feedback, but they'll say, hey, I would like it if you had something like this. And I'm like, actually, I think I could do that. Right. And so I'm always coming up with new products. And it's like, wait, when'd you do? Sorry, I was brainstorming.
What kind of products do you sell?
I sell pretty much everything I make is handmade. I sell like body butters, oils, aura mist. So that could be aura mist is like for energy on your body or in a space. Mm-hmm. I sell herbal jewelry. I sell mixed tea blends. Right. I sell tinctures. So tinctures are tonics. I sell like a variety of different things. I pretty much offer medicine to people, but also tools for healing practitioners. So that could be like selling fabric or aura mist for their yoga class. So I make medicine that people can do so they can continue to have that self-agency, but also for healers that are providing space for other people to have like some kind of medicine that they want to offer to their class or to the group they're serving. So what's next is, of course, like coming up with new products.
But you're also creating some new events, some movement-based events.
Right. Because, so, like she said, Seed of Oshun, there's so many attributes. There's a healing arts part of it. There's a groundwork where we work with land. There's the aspects of products, and then like one-on-one group work. So when it comes to like the products, always coming up with new products. I should have a new line of a Caribbean blend, which would be like body scrubs and oils. And also every time I travel, I come up with new ideas. So I really want to I'm committing to learn a lot in Jamaica and come up with at least 2 new products that have been influenced by what I learned in Jamaica. Other than that, I'm working on having a mobile and stationary event that happens monthly, and that will really mirror what I want to see in the future. And that will be called Ile Ashe. Ile Ashe means house of Ashe, and Ashe means blessings. So house of blessings. And so that will be a space for people to come to and to be rejuvenated, to take refuge, to get healing, to develop self-agency. And in the future, I hope that will definitely be a physical location in different places throughout the world. My wellness garden is called Wild Root Wellness Farm. I'm partnered with 2 other beautiful women, and we all have our own separate businesses, but we fall under the umbrella of Wild Root Wellness Farm, and we all like do our medicine work there as well. So that will be really great. Like there's been already some work days, but we're going to continue to have community dinners, community work days to really get people to engage and feel connected to the land in a beautiful way. And I should be having a retreat soon. I'm planning a wellness retreat, which will be probably next summer, but I'm going to start outreaching in the next like couple months. So there's a lot of beautiful, fun things coming out. Seed of Oshun is what I do full time now. So I'm just really pushing myself to be the best I can be. Sometimes I forget that I'm an artist too. And I'm like, So now I'm like,
no,
okay,
but it's definitely
I need to be an artist too.
Yeah. No, but it's definitely a part of the process.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
Definitely is. I really want to, like, whatever your craft is, like, definitely, like, find ways to keep elevating. Like, I'm like, dang, I should take more dance classes. So that's what I'm working on too. Like, for Lanise, for Arira. Arira is my Yoruba name. Arira Adeeké, which is a crown name. It's a crown of royalty. And so that name I use in spaces too. Lanise is also my given name. And it sounds cute. Like Lanise. So I like that one too. But definitely, so really just challenging myself to push myself in my artistry, to buy new paint, to buy new brushes, to try different platform to paint on, and to really just challenge myself to move in the morning.
It really seems like you're doing a lot. But it's great. No, but it's great that you love doing what you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So thank you.
Of course. This has been beautiful for sure.
Right. And like we already said, we're probably gonna like
keep talking
for a whole hour. When the camera stop rolling, we're gonna continue this conversation. Thank you, sis, for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We had a lot of good food for you today. So I hope that you had your forks and your knives ready. Get ready for next week's episode. Can't wait to see you there.